Hello, folks. We are watching tonight's State of the Union, the 2023 State of the Union. What's happening? We have Joe Biden here, the presence of Joe Biden in here, and he's going to supervise our behavior and your behavior, so please be on your best behavior. The only thing we're missing is lipstick, as I indicated, and Brad is here with us too. Hi, Brad. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. How about you?
Fantastic.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. If you're watching right now, we've got tons of people who are joining us already in the comments. That's fantastic. The way this is going to work is Is that you? Was that you?
That was me, yeah.
Okay. Do you need to get Charlie in here so he can fix it? Come here, Molly.
Needs to be stopped.
They are saying they can't see you on the stream, Annie.
They can't see me on the stream. Okay.
That's me. I'm working on my audio over here.
Okay. I thought we were good. How can you not see me?
Mommy!
Hi! All right, stand by. Annie's in the dark. Just a minute. Brad, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, let me figure this out. You can kind of narrate what you're going through here and as we watch. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the president's cabinet. I don't know everybody on the cabinet. There's Secretary Blinken, Janet Yellen. I'm not sure who the lady in the blue is, but she was really excited to see the Supreme Court justices. Secretary Austin. There's Merrick Garland. I don't know who that is. Sorry, guys. I wish I knew more about this as far as who everybody is. You can see Joe Biden. There's Mayor Pete. Everybody say hi to Mayor Pete. All right, everybody. So on the show today, Ryan brought in some things, some bets, some betting odds for the show. So my question is for you, and let's just do an over or under. The over and under for the length of the speech was set at 63 minutes. That goes from the time that he says his first word till the time that he ends his speech. I'll let you guys say in the chat whether you're over or under. That'll be fun, something to do that way. I see Annie on my screen.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, folks who are watching right now, I need to know two things. Can you hear my voice? Can you see my face?
I can see you on my stream on my phone.
So you think that's back?
Yep.
That's what a producer does. Thank you. Okay, all the players. I think so. They say we're good. I think
Annie,
What's
I
that?
don't know if you heard the challenge, but if you're seeing over and under in the chat, I gave them the 63-minute over-under mark.
Oh, yeah?
And they're supposed to tell us if they think that we're over or under.
Hold on a second. All right. My husband said, message me if you need anything. I need lipstick. These lips are not looking like they look like I'm dead. I think we're really
How do mine
taxing
look?
the fry. Yours look, I can't even see. Ooh, look at Kirsten Sinema. Bright yellow. Chumming it up with Mitt Romney, the new party in Washington, D.C.
There's Mayorkas.
Yes.
Do you think those two like one another?
I don't know why they would. I think that McCarthy probably appreciates her because I think she makes his job easier.
Faux show.
Manchin. Ted Cruz. I really like watching these things. I know that it's like not for everybody, but I'm a fan.
I am too. I mean, I don't know why I'm such a nerd for these things, but Do you remember when you first really got involved, like you really zoomed in on politics?
I'll take both, thank you. Lipstick has arrived, folks.
Right.
I think that I've told this story before, but I think that when it really started to matter to me is when I was a junior in high school and I was in Honors American History, and they had us, the year was 2000, and you might remember an important election took place in 2000.
Yes.
And what my teacher, Mr. Lindsay, did was he created a class project, split us in half. Half of us had to learn George Bush's platform, half of us had to learn Al Gore's platform, and then we had to debate each other in front of all of the local Lutheran grade schools. I went to a Lutheran high school. And the interesting thing about that was that when we debated in front of everybody, after we were done, the kids would vote for whomever they preferred, and we weren't allowed to say who we were. So it was strictly about the issues. It was about, okay, let's talk about education. Let's talk about foreign policy. And I had to dive into each of those issues, and I had note cards and everything so we could debate in front of all of these schools. And I had to really learn my stuff. And then that's when I realized this stuff is really important. This really actually matters in a way that I guess at that point, and I guess I was 16 at the time, I didn't realize that it mattered that much. And ever since then, I've cared. I'll put it that way. I cared. And then I've slowly learned a little bit more, like the importance of lipstick, as time went on, and just kind of applied myself a little bit more.
So for me, I was a freshman in college. And I say freshman in college, I mean, it was during the same election. I graduated in 01, so I would have been a senior. But
yeah, you're 1 year ahead of me.
Same election cycle, and then going into college that year and stuff like that. Listening to people talk about it and all this other stuff and how contentious it was, and listening to people talk about, that wasn't Kerry, though. That was Gore. But I was sitting in college, like I would go in and do these auto body classes, and I'd come out and then I'd watch election coverage on the screen, like in the cafeteria, because I was a nerd and I was talking to everybody that was older than me.
So you knew early on too.
Yeah, it was really crazy. And then I remember it was Michael Savage, was he a radio broadcaster?
Yeah, he used to be on 97.1, I think.
Yeah, I found 97.1, one of his streams on my way home from college, and I would not stream, but shows, and listen to that on the way home from college.
Who's this guy? Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Hey! Now he walks in. Brad, are you signed into the YouTube also?
Yeah, I'm on my phone on the YouTube.
I was going to say, if you want to put up, I don't know how you're signed in, you can put up polls if you want to.
I'm signed in as myself, so I don't think I can put up a poll.
Okay, maybe I can. Aw, poor Blues Diz. Oh, high expectations. Granny on Twitch. Yes, ma'am.
I'm imagining that in her voice.
I'm sorry to anybody who's watching with your children, but when a grandma talks to you, you listen. And it's great advice. It truly is.
I like seeing that action we're getting in Twitch. How many people do we have watching? 2.
2 Twitchers?
Yep, Master Voltaire and Rise of Darkness. I don't know why Granny isn't showing up. Maybe she just swung by to drop that off.
Must have been an a-hole.
Who made that man a gunner? I did, sir. He's my cousin.
They're all a-hole.
I knew it.
Man, if you're not knowing what we're talking about, then get yourself some Spaceballs in your life. Mr. Schumer.
Scooter, are you drinking during the stream?
What?
He says
I'm not down that far.
he makes a lot of gaffes, might get drunk within 30 minutes.
There must be some discussion on drinking games. I don't have anything but Diet Mountain Dew to drink here right now.
Right now, you might have to tear into the Waple Miskey later.
Oh, the Waple Miskey is just in the other room, but there's not a whole lot left.
So I might be going back to St. Augustine's this summer.
Oh, yeah? So you might have to bring some more back.
Yeah,
That
I was going to say, do I need to bring more back?
I'm not going to tell you what you have to do, but
It would be appreciated.
love the Waple Miskey.
Thank you. Wave to everybody, they can see you. That's Terry.
Hi, Terry. Cheers.
Yeah, the drink of champions. I'm looking forward to watching the sign language interpreter.
Yeah. We're streaming this, we're co-streaming this from the White House YouTube channel, in case you're wondering why they want you to, before they had text Biden at such and such. It's like, I got some things I want to text. Let's see if that
Deal.
pops back up.
Twitch is up to 5.
Oh, that's right. Gosh dang it. Hold on a second.
Let's go, Twitch gang. She said, oh, that's right, and she left. So if you're looking at me to tell you what she had to do, I don't know. That's not what I do around here. I just try to make things work. I would like to point out my set behind me. I went with the Dark Biden theme, so I got blue at the top with some red lighting on it. Hopefully to make you guys feel... I don't know how that makes you feel. How does it make you feel? Gang, gang.
I'm back. I was reminded of the Waple Miskey, which is right here.
Smoked Waple Miskey.
This is how far we're done with this bottle.
And I'll have you know that bottle was full when I brought it here.
The bottle was full in November. And then the election happened, and well, it's half empty now. Smells delicious.
What's that?
More people get me Florida booze now. Florida orange cello. So I might think about having a little bit of this. I need to know how to drink it.
How do you feel about moonshine?
Blackberry moonshine's some of my favorite.
So that place that I got that Waple Miskey, they also do moonshine.
All right, here we
Members
go.
of Congress, I have the high privilege and the distinct honor to
Did he say the
present to you
stink
the
honor?
President.
Sounded like it.
Go get him.
Go.
Mr. Speaker.
The clock starts now.
Thank you. You can smile. It's okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Please. Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, our First Lady and Second Gentleman, good to see you guys up there. Members of Congress, by the way, Chief Justice, I may need a court order. She gets to go to the game tomorrow, next week. I have to stay home. Got to work something out here.
Gotta get
Members
those
of the Cabinet,
documents.
Leaders of our military, Chief Justice, Associate Justice, and retired Justice of the Supreme Court, and to you, my fellow Americans. You know, I start tonight by congratulating the 118th Congress and the new Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy.
Ooh.
Speaker, I don't want to ruin your reputation, but I look forward to working with you.
That's funny.
And I want to congratulate the new leader of the House Democrats, the first African-American minority leader in history, Hakeem Jeffries. He won in spite of the fact I campaigned for him. Congratulations to the longest-serving leader in the history of the United States Senate, Mitch McConnell. Where are you, Mitch?
Where are you, son of a Mitch?
God love you. Stand up, Mitch.
And congratulations to Chuck Schumer, another, another term as Senate Minority Leader. I think you, only this time you have a slightly bigger majority, Mr. Leader. You're the majority leader. About that much bigger?
That's an
Well, I'll
applause
tell you what.
line.
I want to give special recognition to someone who I think is going to be considered
Speckle Rex.
the greatest speaker in the history of the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi.
I wish I knew what the names were that Ryan had.
Yeah. You should text him, and I know he had other
Folks,
obligations tonight, but if he wants to
story of
join us a little bit
America
later,
is
he
a
can.
story of progress and resilience, of always moving forward, of never, ever giving up. It's a story unique among all nations. We're the only country that has emerged from every crisis we've ever entered stronger than we got into it. Look, folks, that's what we're doing again. 2 years ago, the economy was reeling. I stand here tonight after we've created, with the help of many people in this room, 12 million new jobs. More jobs created in 2 years than any president's created in 4 years, because of you all, because of the American people.
Yeah, because of you all who shut everything down.
2 years ago,
We turned everything off, and then we turned it back on again, and it started coming back on.
2 years
Aren't we
ago,
great?
COVID had shut down, our businesses were closed, our schools were
Andy, we're getting people
robbed
in the
of so
chat
much.
saying that the video's
Today,
really laggy.
COVID no longer controls our lives. And
I
2
can
years
pull up
ago,
the
democracy
White House
faced
stream
its
on my
greatest
end
threat
and
to
try it if
civil
you
war.
want.
Today, though bruised, our democracy remains unbowed and unbroken.
Go ahead and switch it when you're ready.
As we gather here tonight, we're writing the next chapter in the great American story, a story of progress and resilience. When world leaders ask me to define America, and they do, believe it or not, I say I can define it in one word, and I mean this: possibility.
it.
We don't think anything is beyond our capacity. Everything is a possibility. You know, we're often told that Democrats and Republicans can't work together. But over the past 2 years, we've proved the cynics and naysayers wrong. Yes, we disagreed plenty.
Let us know if that's
yes,
better, folks.
there were times when Democrats went alone. But
Great
time and
bread.
again, Democrats and Republicans came together to defend a stronger and safer Europe.
I'm going to take that
Came
as a
together to
compliment.
pass once in a generation infrastructure law, building bridges connecting our nation and our people. We came together to pass the most significant law ever, helping victims exposed to toxic burn pits. And in fact,
That was an important law.
Agreed.
it was important. And in fact, I signed over 300 bipartisan pieces of legislation since becoming president, from reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act, the Electoral Count Reform Act, the Respect for Marriage Act that protects the right to marry the person you love. And to my Republican friends, if we could work together in the last Congress, there's no reason we can't work together and find consensus on important things in this Congress as well. I think
Ooh, that's something we didn't talk about. Is he going to
Folks.
whisper
Yeah. Whisper, yell.
or yell? Or both?
Lawlers as formed
At the
as
same
I
time.
am, but I think the people sent us a clear message. Fighting for the sake of fighting, power for the sake of power, conflict for the sake of conflict gets us nowhere. That's always been my vision of our country, and I know it's many of yours. To restore the soul of this nation, to rebuild the backbone of America, America's middle class, and to unite the country. We've been sent here to finish the job, in my view. For decades, the middle class has been hollowed out in more than, and not no one administration, but for a long time. Too many good-paying manufacturing jobs move overseas. Factories closed down. Once thriving cities and towns that many of you represent became shadows of what they used to be. Along the way, something else we lost: pride, our sense of self-worth. I ran for president to fundamentally change things, to make sure our economy works for everyone, so we can all feel that pride in what we do. To build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. Because when the middle class
That's
does
a faithful
well, the
phrase.
poor have a ladder up, and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well. I know a lot of you always kid me for always quoting my dad, but my dad used to say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. He really would say this. It's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. Well, folks, so let's look at the results. We're not finished yet by any stretch of the imagination, but unemployment rate is at 3.4%, a 50-year low. A near record unemployment. Near record unemployment for black and Hispanic workers. We've already created, with your help, 800,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs, the fastest growth in 40 years. And where is it written? Where is it written that America can't lead the world in manufacturing? And I don't know where that's written. For too many decades, we imported projects and exported jobs. Now, thanks to what you've all done, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs. Folks,
He definitely is more with it.
Inflation has been a global problem because the pandemic disrupted our supply chains, and Putin's unfair and brutal war in Ukraine disrupted energy supplies as well as food supplies, blocking all that grain in Ukraine. But we're better positioned than any country on earth right now. But we have more to do. But here at home, inflation is coming down. Here at home, gas prices are down $1.50 from their peak. Food inflation is coming down, not fast enough, but coming down. Inflation has fallen every month for the last 6 months, while take-home pay has gone up. Additionally, over the last 2 years, a record 10 million Americans applied to start new businesses. 10 million. And by the way, every time someone starts a small business is an act of hope. And Madam Vice President, I want to thank you for leading that effort to ensure that small businesses have access to capital and the historic laws we enacted that are going to just come into being. Standing here last year, I shared with you a story of American genius and possibilities. Semiconductors, small computer chips the size of a fingerprint that power everything, from cell phones to automobiles and so much more. These chips were invented in America. Let's get that straight. They were invented in America. We used to make 40% of the world's chips. In the last several decades, we lost our edge. We're down to only producing 10%. We all saw what happened during the pandemic when chip factories shut down overseas. Today's automobiles need 3,000 chips, each of those automobiles. But American automobiles couldn't make enough cars because there weren't enough chips. Car prices went up, people got laid off. So did everything from refrigerators to cell phones. We can never let that happen again. That's why we came together to pass the Bipartisan Chips and Science Act.
I like a Made in America message.
Folks, I know I've been criticized for saying this, but I'm not changing my view. We're going to make sure the supply chain for America begins in America. The supply chain begins in America. We've already created 800,000 new manufacturing jobs without this law, before the law kicks in. With this new law, we're going to create hundreds of thousands of new jobs across the country. I mean all across the country, throughout not just the
Kinda
coast,
gross.
but through the middle of the country as well. That's going to come from companies that have announced more than $300 billion in investment in American manufacturing over the next few years.
Still bothers me the way he says
Outside of
manufacturing.
Columbus, Ohio,
Or doesn't
Intel
say
is building
manufacturing.
Semiconductor factories on 1,000 acres, literally a
How's he
field
say
of
it?
dreams.
Manufacturing?
10,000 jobs, that one investment.
That's pretty good for him. I give him an A minus.
I think he's always said it that way, though.
3,000 jobs.
I think it's
in
part of
those
his blue
factories
collar
once they're
Joe thing.
finished. They call them factories.
Joey.
Jobs paying an average of $130,000 a year, and many do not require a college degree.
That's why we're making college free for everybody.
Jobs. Because we work together, these jobs where people don't have to leave home to search for opportunity. It's just getting started. Think about the new homes, the small businesses, the medium-sized businesses. So much more that's going to be needed to support those 3,000 permanent jobs in the factories that are going to be built. Talk to mayors and governors, Democrats and Republicans, and they'll tell you what this means for their communities. We're seeing these field of dreams transform to the heartland. But to maintain the strongest economy in the world, we need the best infrastructure in the world. And folks, as you all know, we used to be #1 in the world in infrastructure. We've sunk to 13th in the world. The United States of America, 13th in the world in infrastructure.
Borderline yelling right there.
That's
Now we're coming
yelling.
back because we came together and passed the bipartisan infrastructure law, the largest investment in infrastructure since President Eisenhower's interstate highway system.
Eisenhower.
We sure the sign language girl is legit, Nick says. I have no idea. Looks pretty legit to me.
Already we've funded over 20,000 projects, including major airports from Boston to Atlanta to Portland. Projects that are going to put thousands of people to work rebuilding our highways, our bridges, our railroads, our tunnels, ports, airports, clean water, high-speed internet, all across America. Urban, rural, tribal. And folks, we're just getting started. We're just getting started.
Biden better hurry up.
And I mean it sincerely.
I mean it.
I want to thank my Republican
Anybody
friends
want a
who
peanut?
voted for the law. My Republican friends who voted against it as well. But I still get asked to fund the projects in those districts as well. But don't worry. I promised I'd be a president for all Americans. We'll fund these projects. And I'll see you at the groundbreaking.
Crooked smile.
Look,
My husband's listening upstairs. Can you
This
bring me a
law-
glass? Just a small one. Maybe one that says Pritzker
this law will
sucks.
further unite all of America. Projects like Brent Spence
Gotta have some
Bridge
Florida
in
whiskey
Kentucky
with my,
over the
or
Ohio
no,
River.
Florida liqueur.
Built 60 years ago. Badly needed repairs.
Or
One of the
Florida
nation's
whiskey.
most congested freight routes, carrying $2 billion worth of freight every single day across the Ohio River. And folks, we've been talking about fixing it for decades, but we're really finally going to get it done. I went there last month with Democrats and Republicans, and from both states, to deliver a commitment of
Thank you, Jackie and Nick.
$1.6 billion for this project. And while I was there, I met a young woman named Sarah, who's here tonight. I don't know where Sarah is. Is she up in the box? I don't know. Sarah, how are you? Well, Sarah, for 30 years,
It's a little ASMR for you.
for 30
I hate
years,
it. The sound. I don't know if
I
hear it.
learned, she told me she'd been a proud member of the Iron Workers Local 44, known as the Cowboys in the Sky. The folks who built Cincinnati's skyline. Sarah said she can't wait to be 10 stories above the Ohio River building that new bridge. God bless her. That's pride. And that's what we're also building. We're building back pride. Look, we're also replacing poisonous lead pipes that go into 10 million homes in America. 400,000 school and child care centers. So every child in America can drink the water instead of having permanent damage to their brain. Look,
That is
We're making
that is
sure-
something we can all drink to.
we're making
We
sure
agree on that one.
that every community in America has access to affordable high-speed internet. No parent should have to drive by McDonald's parking lot to help them do their homework online or their
Phone
kids,
work.
which many thousands were doing across the country.
Believe me,
When
look.
we do these projects,
Eyes.
again, I get criticized for this, but I make
They were
no
doing it.
excuses for it. We're going to buy American.
Not a joke.
We're going to buy American. Folks,
I don't believe
And it's
Raphael
totally-
Warnock likes America that much.
totally consistent with international trade rules. Buy America has been the law since 1933, but for too long, past administrations, Democrat and Republican, have fought to get around it. Not anymore. Tonight, I'm announcing new standards that require all
He's happy.
construction materials used in federal infrastructure projects to be made in America.
Can you do that?
Made in America.
I don't know.
I mean it.
I mean it.
Lumber,
Did he?
glass, drywall, fiber optic cable.
Gonna make that lumber in America.
American roads, bridges, and American highways are going to be made with American products as well. Folks,
Is he?
my economic plan is about
Requiring it?
investing in places and people that have been forgotten. So many of you listening to me tonight, I know you feel it. So many of you felt like you've just simply been forgotten. Amid the economic upheaval of the past 4 decades,
What?
too many people have been left behind and treated like they're invisible. Maybe that's you watching from home. Remember the jobs that went away. You remember them, don't
Yeah,
you?
I'm a Republican, a MAGA
at home
Republican, and
remember.
I'm not even like
You wonder
super
whether the
one,
path
ultra.
even exists anymore for your children to get ahead without
Christopher
having to move
Purcell's
away.
predicting a whisper.
Well, that's why I get that. That's why we're building an economy where no one's left behind. Jobs are coming back. Pride is coming back. Because
Should've had him on
choices
his own
we made
camera.
in the last several years. You know, this is, in my view, a blue-collar blueprint to rebuild America and make a real difference in your lives at home. For example, too many of you lay in bed at night like my dad did, staring at the ceiling, wondering what in God's names happens
What?
if your spouse gets cancer or your child gets deadly ill.
Like every time he
Something
tells a
happens to
story
you.
about his dad,
What are you going to
it's like his dad was the most desperate, pathetic human being on the earth.
He's always worrying, whining, complaining.
Yes.
I get it.
My dad didn't do
get it.
that. You know what my dad did? He
The
got up at
Inflation
4
Reduction
and he
Act
went to
by
work.
signing the law. We're taking on powerful interests to bring
He still
healthcare
gets up
costs
at
It just
4 and
doesn't.
goes to work.
He's
so you
trying
can
to be
sleep better at
relatable.
night.
Yeah.
He's trying to
more
be like
security.
you, and we're like,
You know, we pay
My-
you
more
are
my
not
dad-
like me.
My dad's not like
Any
that. That's what you
nation
think my
in the
dad's like,
world.
but he's not like
We
that.
say it again. We pay more for prescription drugs than any major nation on earth.
Didn't they raise the price of
For
insulin
example,
before they lowered
1 in
it?
10 Americans has diabetes. Many of you in this chamber do, and in the audience.
I'm not a
Every
big
day,
fan of government
millions need
caps.
insulin to control their diabetes so they can literally stay alive. Insulin's been around for over 100 years. The guy who invented it didn't even patent it because he wanted it to be available for everyone. It costs the
Scooter's
drug
asking if he's been
companies
heckled yet. I don't think so.
Nope.
$10 a vial to make that insulin.
I mean, maybe a little bit by us,
Package
but
it
that
and all,
doesn't
you may
count.
get up to $13. But Big Pharma has been unfairly charging people hundreds of dollars, $400 to $500 a month, making record profits. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah, how dare they make profit? But the other side of this is, too, don't forget that his government was paying Big Pharma billions of dollars to make a vaccine.
Yeah.
You can't be against Big Pharma and then be their biggest funder.
So many things that we did are only now coming to fruition. We said we were doing this, and we said we passed the law to do it, but people didn't know because the law didn't take effect until January 1 of this year. We capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors on Medicare.
So he didn't cap
People are
it
just
for
finding
everyone.
out. I'm sure you're getting the same calls I'm getting. Look, there are millions of other Americans who do not or are not on Medicare, including 200,000 young people with type 1 diabetes who need this insulin to stay alive. Let's finish the job this time. Let's cap the cost of insulin for everybody at $35. Folks,
That's not going to get a lot of Republican
Big
support.
Pharma's still going to do very well, I promise you all. I promise you they're going to do very well. This law also caps and won't even go into effect until 2025. It costs out-of-pocket drug costs for seniors on Medicare at a maximum of $2,000 a year. You don't have to pay more than $2,000 a year, no matter how much your drug costs are. Because you know why? You all know it. Many of you, like many in my family, have cancer. You know the drugs can range from $10, $11, $14, $15,000 for the cancer drugs. If drug prices rise faster than inflation, drug companies are going to have to pay Medicare back the difference. And we're finally giving Medicare the power to negotiate drug prices.
He hasn't done anything to insult
Bringing down
his political opponents yet.
No.
Bringing
He's asked
down
them to come
prescription
along
drug
a little
costs
bit,
doesn't
but-
just save seniors money. It cuts the federal deficit by billions of dollars,
Ooh,
by
he's close
hundreds of
to a
billions of
whisper.
dollars. Because these prescription drugs are drugs
Not
purchased
standing and clapping.
by
Did you notice that?
Medicare to keep their commitment to the seniors.
Who?
Cinema.
Guess what?
Good.
Instead of paying $400 or $500 a month, you're paying $15. That's a lot of savings for the federal government.
She wore that bright yellow
And by
dress.
the
She's
way,
really easy to
Why
pick
would
out.
we want that?
Yeah.
Now
you do that
some
on
members
purpose?
here are threatening.
Maybe.
And I know it's not an official party position, so I'm not going to exaggerate. It's threatening to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. As my coach, that's okay. That's fair. As my football coach used to say, lots of luck in your senior year. Make no mistake.
Senior
If
years?
you try anything to raise the cost of
that what he
prescription
means?
drugs, I will veto it. Look, I'm pleased to say that more Americans have health insurance now than ever in history. A record 16 million people are enrolled in the Affordable Care Act. And thanks to the law I signed last year, saving millions are saving $800 a year on their premiums. And by the way, that law was written.
My premiums
the
haven't gone
benefit
down.
expires in 2025.
No. Well, you're not
My
on the
plea
Affordable
to
Health
some of
Care
you, at
Act.
least in this
That's also
audience,
true.
let's finish the job
Someone's
and
gotta
make
pay
these
for it.
savings permanent.
He said a record
Expand
16 million
coverage of
people were
Medicaid.
on the Affordable Health Care Act. So the record, that's 16 million, and there's 330 million Americans. So
Look,
those three, the rest of them are
Inflation
supporting that
Reduction Act is
16
also
million.
the most significant
And the prices are
investment
still
ever
going up.
in climate change.
Affordable Health Care Act isn't
Ever.
affordable.
Lowering utility bills, creating American jobs, leading the world to a clean energy future. I visited the devastating aftermath of record
He's
floods,
speaking
droughts,
so
storms, and
much more
wildfires.
quickly and
From Arizona to
coherently.
Mexico to all the way
Mm-hmm.
up to the Canadian border.
He must have got that
More
extra shot at
timber has
scooters.
been burned, as I've observed from helicopters, than the entire state of Missouri. And we don't have global warming? Not a problem. In
you say
addition to
Missouri?
emergency recovery from Puerto Rico
Sounds
to
like something
Florida
he
to
would say.
Idaho, we're rebuilding for the long term.
Got to be one of them.
New electric
I don't even
grids
say Missouri.
that are able to weather major storms and not prevent those forest fires. Roads and water systems withstand the next big flood. Clean energy to cut pollution and create jobs in communities often left behind. We're going to build 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations installed across the country by tens of thousands of IBW workers. And we're helping families save more than $1,000 a year with tax credits to purchase electric vehicles and efficient appliances, energy-efficient appliances. Historic conservation efforts to be responsible stewards of our land. Let's face reality. The climate crisis doesn't care if you're in a red or blue state. It's an existential threat. We have an obligation, not to ourselves, but to our children and grandchildren, to confront it. I'm proud of how America, at last, is stepping up to the challenge. We're still going to need oil and gas for a while. But guess what? No, we do. But there's so much more to do.
Manchin, show him.
We got to finish the job. And we pay for these investments in our future by finally making the wealthiest and biggest corporations begin to pay their fair share.
They never define what fair share is. It's just
Because it's
more.
never enough.
Yeah, it's just more until
Trump is
they
not
don't
happy.
have anything.
Look,
No.
I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist, but pay your fair share.
You're not a capitalist,
A
Joe.
lot of you at home.
Cheers to you too, Joe Biden. Here's a whole bottle. Finish it off.
That you know, the tax system is not fair. It is not fair.
Well, I agree with him on that. It's
Yeah.
not fair.
Look,
Yep.
Equal sacrifice, not equal giving.
The
If everybody
idea
pays the same percentage,
that
everybody,
in
that's fair.
2020, 55
They don't
of
want
the
that.
largest
Nobody wants
corporations in
that.
America, the Fortune
I mean, I
500,
want that, but nobody else wants that.
made $40 billion in profits and paid zero in federal taxes? Zero? Folks, it's simply not
Good
fair.
luck changing the tax code to
But
your
now,
benefit with
because
a
of the law I
Republican majority in the
signed,
House. I'd
billion-dollar
breathe a lot easier
companies
because
have
of
to pay a
that,
minimum
even if
of
it is 5 people or
15%.
4 plus like
God
George
love 'em.
Santos.
15%. That's less than a nurse pays.
Well, maybe lower
A
what the
nurse? A nurse?
To be crystal clear, I said
It's like,
at the very beginning,
we're going to fix the tax code. We're going to make it fair. We're not going to lower it for the people that we think are paying too much. We're going to raise it for the other people so that the money doesn't go down. We just bring
nobody,
more money
not
in.
one penny. But let's finish the job. There's more to do. We have to reward work, not just wealth. Pass my proposal for the billionaire minimum tax. You know,
You have to
there's
reward
1,000
work, not
billionaires in
just
America.
wealth.
It's up from
You
about
reward
60
lack of
at the
work.
beginning. But no billionaire should be paying a lower tax rate than a school teacher or firefighter. I mean it. Think about it.
I mean it. I'm serious. Come on, man.
Not a joke.
I mean, look,
It's a squad in the back there. All hype.
I know you aren't enthusiastic.
Maybe they'll
about
take
that,
us back
but
to
think
church.
about
Church of the
it.
Squad.
Think about it. Have you noticed Big Oil just reported its profits, record profits? Last year they made $200 billion in the midst of a global energy crisis. I think it's outrageous.
Yeah.
Why?
We created a shortage of the product that they sell, and then they made a bunch of money off of it.
When I talk to a couple of them, they say, we're afraid you're going to shut down all the oil,
He's right.
all the oil refineries anyway, so why should we invest in them? I said,
That
"We're gonna
guy's got a
need
great
oil
point.
For at least another decade. And that's going to exceed, and beyond that, we're going to need
They're
it.
laughing at him.
Yeah, who's laughing at him? Is that the
Republicans.
Democrats?
If they had, in fact, invested in the production to keep gas prices down, instead, they used the record profits to buy back their own stock, rewarding their CEOs and shareholders. Corporations ought to do the right thing. That's why I propose we quadruple the tax on corporate stock buybacks and encourage long-term investments. They'll still make considerable profit. Let's finish the job and close the loopholes that allow very wealthy to avoid paying their taxes. Instead of cutting the number of audits for wealthy taxpayers, I just signed a law to reduce the deficit by $114 billion by
What a joke.
cracking down on wealthy tax cheats.
Again,
That's being fiscally responsible.
it's the alcoholic saying, I don't drink 8 beers a night anymore. I only drink 6. And going,
Yep.
look
The
at me
last
go.
2 years,
2 beer progress.
my administration has cut the deficit by more than $1.7
Everything that he has
trillion
quoted
dollars.
about cutting the deficit has
largest
been about
deficit
raising
reduction in
taxes on
American
people.
history.
So he hasn't
Under the
actually
previous
cut spending.
administration,
He
With
just
record
is,
revenue right
he's
now.
just reaching more into your pocket to take more out.
Because those record deficits, no president added more to the national debt in any 4 years than my predecessor. Nearly 25% of the entire national debt that took over 200 years to accumulate was added by just one administration alone, the last one. They're the facts. Check it out.
What a joke.
Check it out. How did Congress respond to that debt? They did the right thing. They lifted the debt ceiling 3 times without preconditions or crisis. They paid American bills to prevent an economic disaster in the country. So tonight I'm asking the Congress to follow suit. Let's commit
So
here tonight
he
to
keeps
the full
saying,
faith and credit of the
and
United
Democrats
States of
keep
America
saying
will
that
never,
the
ever
debt
be
ceiling
questioned.
is so that we can pay our bills.
So
The
many
debt
of-
ceiling,
some of my
you don't
Republican friends
pay bills with debt.
want to take the economy hostage. I get it.
Debt
just borrow
is
a little
creating
bit.
more
I agree with
bills.
their economic plans.
That's not
All
what
of
the
you
debt
at
ceiling
home
is.
know what
It
those
doesn't. No,
plans
it
are.
means they're spending more.
Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority.
That's not true. That's an effing
Yeah, that's a
lie.
lie.
Let me
That is a
give you-
bold-faced
anybody who
baloney
doubts it,
sausage lie.
Contact my office.
Gosh,
I'll
what a
give you
oh
copy.
man, that makes me so
I'll
mad.
give you a copy of the proposal. That means
What
Congress
a-
doesn't vote.
He's like arguing with them.
Well, I'm glad to see you. And I tell you, I enjoy conversion. You know, it means if
Conversion?
Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go
He thinks
away.
he
Other
converted
Republicans
them.
Say, I'm not
He
saying
just
it's a
made up a
majority of
lie
you.
about
I
him,
don't
and then
think
they're
it's
like,
even
"No,
a
that's not true." And he's like,
significant-
"I'm glad you came and see it my way."
But it's being proposed by
The country
individuals.
knows.
I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you.
This is
Look.
ridiculous. He's
Folks.
embarrassing himself.
The idea
Go
is
on.
that we're not going to be moved into being threatened to default on the debt if we don't respond.
Be like a high school
Folks.
gymnasium if I was up in there.
So, folks, as we all apparently agree, Social Security and Medicare is off the books now, right? They're not to be started. All right. I'm ready. We got unanimity.
Gosh, what a loser.
Social Security and Medicare are a lifeline for millions of seniors. Americans have to pay into them from the very first paycheck they started. So tonight, let's all agree, and we apparently are. Let's stand up for seniors. Stand up and show them. We'll not cut Social Security. We will not cut Medicare. Those benefits belong to the American people. They earned it. And if anyone tries to cut Social Security, which apparently no one's going to do, and if anyone tries to cut Medicare, I'll stop them. I'll veto it. And look, I'm not going to allow them to take away, be
Brad,
taken
don't
away, not
go.
today, not
Brad
tomorrow, not
Williams.
ever. But apparently it's not going to be a problem. Next month, when I offer my fiscal plan, I ask my Republican friends to lay down their plan as well. I really mean
Good
it.
point, Dirk.
Let's sit down together and discuss our mutual plans together. Let's do that.
Interesting conversation right now that you don't have the majority in both houses. Could have done that before.
Let's lay down your
I can
plan
tell you.
too. Oh, you're gonna get it, bud. I don't think you're gonna like it,
Plan
but you're
I'm
gonna
show
get
you
it.
is going to cut the deficit by another $2 trillion. And it
You
won't
didn't cut
a
it last
single
time,
bit
Joe.
of Medicare or Social Security. In fact, we're going to extend the Medicare Trust Fund at least 2 decades, because that's going to be the next argument. How do we keep it solvent, right? Well, we'll not raise tax on anyone making under 400 grand, but we'll pay for it the way we talked about tonight, by making sure that the wealthy and big corporations pay their fair share. Look. Here's the deal. They aren't just taking advantage of the tax code. They're taking advantage of you, the American consumer. Here's my message to all of you out there. I have your back. We're already preventing Americans from receiving surprise medical bills.
It's like he doesn't-
$1 billion surprise bills.
It's like
per
he
month.
doesn't realize that whenever you
protecting
increase taxes, that tax gets passed on to the
life
consumer.
By cracking
So,
down on nursing homes.
Whenever
Commit
businesses
fraud,
take advantage of the
endanger
tax
patient
code,
safety, prescribe drugs
that's
that are
not cheating the
needed.
consumer.
Millions of Americans can now save thousands of dollars because they can finally get a hearing aid over the counter without a prescription. Look, capitalism without competition is not capitalism. It's extortion. It's exploitation. Last year, I cracked down with the help of many of you on foreign shipping companies that were making you pay higher prices for every good coming into the country. I signed a bipartisan bill to cut shipping costs by 90%, helping American farmers, businessmen, and consumers. Let's finish the job. Pass the bipartisan legislation to strengthen antitrust enforcement and prevent big online platforms from giving their
He's
own
got about a
products
quarter of a
an
tank left
unfair
in him.
advantage.
Like I said, he needs 45 solid minutes, not 65 minutes to prove he can do it. I give him an
My
A
administration is all for
on
taking
his
on
ability
junk
to
fees. Those hidden
converse tonight. He's doing a
surcharges
very
too many
good job
companies use
on
to
delivering
make you
his
pay
message.
more.
Much
For
better than
example, we're making airlines
we have been
show
led to
you
believe
the
in the past
full
that he's
ticket
capable of
price
doing.
up front. Refund your money if your flight is canceled or delayed. We've reduced exorbitant bank overdrafts by saving consumers more than $1 billion a year. We're cutting credit card late fees by 75% from $30
But we're raising
to
interest
$8.
rates to 50%.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But you won't. Your late fees, you don't have to worry about those.
So some of you might have been
Jump
watching the
fees.
show whenever Stewie came on. He was talking
Yeah.
to me about my credit card rate. My credit card rate is a promotional rate right now, but when that promotional rate expires, my credit card rate is going to be over 20%, and Stewie thinks that it's going to go up even more than that. So the credit card fees don't really mean a lot to me. I mean, I don't carry a balance, but if you carry a balance,
Yep.
that's 1/5 of
Not
what you
anymore.
spent in interest.
We've written a bill to
That's
stop it
like,
all. It's called the Junk
yeah, that's
Fee
knee cracking
Prevention
territory
Act.
right there.
We're going to ban surprise resort fees that hotels charge on your bill. Those fees can cost you up to $90 a night at hotels.
It's amazing
aren't
that he's
even resorts.
so disgusted by all these little fees that add up, and
Mm-hmm.
then you look at the tax code,
idea that cable, internet,
Which
and
is
cell
just
phone companies
one after the
can
other.
charge you $200 or more if you decide to switch to another provider. Give
By the
me
way,
a
all
break.
your comments, guys, we appreciate it so much.
We can
Thank you for
stop
being here.
service
We
fees on
have a
tickets to
professional
concerts and
obligation to be
sporting
here.
events.
You
Make
have,
companies disclose all
I don't know,
fees
misery
up
loves
front.
company maybe. And
we'll
some of you
prohibit
in here in the
airlines from
comments are
charging
loving what he's saying,
$50
but
round
We've got
trip
180
family
watching
just
with us
to be
today.
yeah,
able to
that's
sit together.
amazing, and we're
Baggage
really
fees
grateful
are
that
bad
you're
enough.
here, and we appreciate
Airlines
you so
can't
much. I
treat
hope that
your
you'll
child
subscribe
like
to
a
the
piece of
channel and
baggage.
turn on notifications anytime we do these
Americans
live
are
things. We've
tired
got a
of
lot of
being-
fun stuff on the YouTube channel
tired of
coming in
being
the next
played
few
for
months, but
suckers.
Yep. Click that little bell and set it to all.
Pass.
yes, thank you.
Pass the Junk Free Prevention Act so companies stop ripping us off. For too long,
Oh, junk
Workers have
fee.
been getting
I thought he
stiff.
said the junk food.
Not
And I was like,
anymore.
what? Wait a
No, what?
second. You're not coming for my junk food.
Yeah, that's where I draw the line.
That's
we march.
purposeful.
I should have
Exactly.
known this, but I didn't until 2 years
And
ago.
that's when everything changed.
30 million workers have to sign non-compete agreements for the jobs they take.
Ooh,
30
let's
million.
listen into this one.
So a cashier at a burger place can't walk across town and take the same job at another burger place and make a few bucks more. It just changed. Well, they just changed it because we exposed it. That was part of the deal, guys. Look it up.
Was he saying there was a
Not
non-compete
anymore.
at fast food?
We're banning those agreements so companies have to compete for workers and pay them what they're worth.
He is. He's
That's how-
making the argument that there's a non-compete in fast food.
And I must tell you,
I want to know more
bound
about
to
it.
get a response from my
Not the
friends
fast food part.
on my left but the right. I'm so sick and tired of
What?
companies breaking the law by preventing workers from organizing. Pass the PRO Act because business have a right. Workers have a right to form a union.
Businesses have a right.
Let's
He's like,
guarantee
well,
all
that doesn't
workers
sound
have a
good.
living wage. Let's make sure working parents can afford to raise a family with sick days, paid family medical leave, affordable child care.
Hey, real quick, anybody in the chat who has worked fast food,
That's
did you ever have to
enable
sign a
millions
non-compete?
of more people to go and stay at
Because I
work
worked
and
several
let
fast
the
food jobs,
full
and I never had to
child
sign
tax
one.
Credit, which gave tens of millions of parents some breathing room and cut child poverty in half to the lowest level in history. And by the way, when we do all these things, we increase productivity, we increase economic growth. So let's finish the job.
The more
Give
government,
families access to affordable,
the more
quality
increased
housing.
productivity.
Let's get seniors
Got
who
it.
want to stay in their homes the care they need to do so. Let's give more breathing room to millions of family caregivers looking after their loved ones. Pass my plan so we get seniors and people with disabilities the home care and services they need.
And
And
inhabited.
support the workers who are doing God's work. These plans are
Can we
fully
acknowledge
paid
God?
for, and we can afford to do them. Restoring the dignity of work means making education an affordable ticket to the middle class. You know, when we made public education, 12 years of it, universal in the last century, we made the best educated, best paid, we became the best educated, best paid nation in the world. But the rest of the world's caught up. It's caught up. Jill, my wife, who teaches full time, has an expression. I hope I get it right, kid.
She
Any
teaches
nation that
and she's a doctor?
out-educates us
How
is
does she
gonna
do
outcompete
it?
us.
Wow. How
Any
does
nation
she
out
do
educates
it?
can outcompete us.
Look at
Folks, we all
Bono's
know
looking a
12
little
years
rough.
of
I don't want to
education
pick on him, but
is not enough to win
Let's
the
see.
economic
Go back to
competition of the
Bono.
21st century. We want to have
Bono on
the
the
best
screen.
educated workforce. Let's finish the job by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. Studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school and go on to earn a 2 or 4 year degree.
I'm not saying he
no
did,
matter
but he
their
sounded like he
background
made
they
that up
came
on the
from.
spot.
Let's give public school teachers a raise.
They make so much
There he
money
is.
right now. Where? Bono.
Right here.
Oh my. Is he small?
We're making progress.
That or the people
by
on his left and
reducing
right are
student debt,
really tall.
Massive.
increasing Pell Grants for working and middle class families. Let's finish the job and connect students to career opportunities starting in high school. Provide access to 2 years of community college.
Ooh,
The best
high
career
compliment,
training in
high
America,
praise.
in
You
addition
make
to
this
being
crap
a pathway to a
stomachable.
4-year degree. Let's offer
That's
every
that's
American a
actually
path
my
to a
day
good
job,
career,
Christopher.
whether they go to college or not.
It's unbelievable.
And folks,
Thanks,
folks,
Vince,
in
for
the
being
midst
here.
of the COVID crisis, when schools were closed and we were shutting down everything,
Yeah.
let's
Remember
recognize
that.
how far
Who?
we
You?
came in
Yes.
the fight against the pandemic itself. While the virus is not gone, thanks to the resilience of the American people and the ingenuity of medicine, we've broken the COVID grip on us. COVID deaths are down by 90%. We've saved millions of lives and opened up our country. We opened our country back up, and soon we'll end the public health emergency. But that's called a public health emergency.
Oh,
But
Nick.
we'll remember the toll
You're on
and
it tonight.
pain
Thank
is never
you.
going to go away. More than 1 million Americans lost their lives to COVID. 1 million. Families grieving. Children orphaned.
Families are grieving, but
Empty
not
chairs at the
together
dining room
because they
table,
weren't
constantly
allowed to
reminding
be.
you that she used to sit there. Remembering them, we remain vigilant. We still need to monitor dozens of variants and support new vaccines and treatments. So Congress needs to fund these efforts and keep America safe. And as we emerge from this crisis stronger, we're also got to double down on prosecuting criminals who stole relief money meant to keep workers and small businesses afloat.
Scooter, good one.
Before I came to office, you remember, during that campaign, the big issue was about inspector generals who would protect taxpayers' dollars who were sidelined. They were fired. Many people said we don't need them. And fraud became rampant. Last year, I told you the watchdogs are back. Since then, we've recovered billions of taxpayers' dollars. Now let's triple the anti-fraud strike force going after these criminals, double the statute of limitations on these crimes, and crack down on identity fraud by criminal syndicates stealing billions of dollars from the American people.
We're going to crack down on
The
identity
data
fraud
show
and find that there's a bunch of
that for
illegal
every dollar we
workers
put into
using
fighting
other people's
fraud,
identities
taxpayers
to get
back at
jobs.
least 10 times as much. It matters. It matters. Look,
You guys are commenting so fast I can't keep up. I'm trying so hard.
like the spike in violent crime in 2020, the first year of the pandemic, we have an obligation to make sure all people are safe. Public safety depends on public trust, as all of us know. But too often that trust is violated. Joining us tonight are the parents of Tyree Nichols. Welcome.
That has to be so incredibly hard.
I still haven't watched that video.
We had to bury Tyree last week. As many of you personally know, there's no words to describe the heartache or grief of losing a child. But imagine if you lost that child at the hands of the law. Imagine having to worry whether your son or daughter came home from walking down the street, playing in the park, or just driving a car. Most of us in here have never had to have the talk that brown and black parents have had to have with their children. Bo, Hunter, Ashley, my children, I never had to have the talk with them. I never had to tell them if a police officer pulls you over, turn your interior lights on right away. Don't reach for your license. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Imagine having to worry like that every single time your kid got in a car. Here's what Tyree's mother shared with me when I spoke to her. When I asked her how she finds the courage to carry on and speak out. The faith of God, she said her son was, quote, a beautiful soul, and something good will come of this. Imagine how much courage and character that takes. It's up to us, to all of us. We all want the same thing. Neighborhoods free of violence. Law enforcement who earns the community's trust. Just as every cop, when they pin on that badge in the morning, has a right to be able to go home at night, so does everybody else out there. Our children have a right to come home safely. Equal protection under the law is a covenant we have with each other in America. We know police officers put their lives on the line every single night and day. And we know we ask them in many cases to do too much to be counselors, social workers, psychologists, responding to drug overdoses, mental health crises, and so much more. In one sense, we ask much too much of them. I know most cops and their families are good, decent, honorable people, the vast majority. But they risk.
Yeah, you better stand up for that. Make a point. There's Eric Schmidt next to Ted Cruz.
And they
See
risk
Tyree
their
Nichols'
lives
mom clapping
every
for that
time
line?
they
That's
put that
important.
shield on. But what happened to Tyree in Memphis happens too often. We have to do better. Give law enforcement the real training they need. Hold them to higher standards. Help them succeed in keeping us safe. We also need more first responders and professionals to address the growing mental health, substance abuse challenges. More resources to reduce violent crime and gun crime. More community intervention programs. More investment in housing, education, and job training.
Yes, that's Bono in front of Joe Biden.
All this can help prevent violence in the first place. When police officers or police departments violate the public trust, they must be held accountable.
I really don't see anybody saying that that's not
With the
true.
support,
Right.
This is not a new concept.
with the support of the families of victims, civil rights groups, and law enforcement, I signed an executive order for all federal officers banning chokeholds, restricting no-knock warrants, and other key elements of the George Floyd Act. Let's commit ourselves to make the words of Tyler's mom true. Something good must come from this. Something good. And all of us, folks, it's difficult, but it's simple. All of us in this chamber, we need to rise to this moment. We can't turn away. Let's do what we know in our hearts that we need to do. Let's come together to finish the job on police reform. Do something. Do something. That was the plea of parents who lost their children in Uvalde. I met with every one of them. Do something about gun violence. Thank God. Thank God we did. Passing the most sweeping gun safety law in 3 decades. That includes things like that the majority of responsible gun owners already support. Enhanced background checks for 18 to 21 years old. Red flag laws, keeping guns out of the hands of people who are a danger to themselves and others. But we know our work is not done. Joining us tonight is Brandon Say, a 26-year-old hero. Brandon put his college dreams on hold to be at his mom's side. His mom's side when she was dying from cancer. And Brandon now works at the dance studio started by his grandparents. And 2 weeks ago, during the Lunar New Year celebrations.
Lunar New Year's not easy to say. He did a good job.
You saw a man standing there pointing a semi-automatic pistol at him. He thought he was going to die, but he thought about the people inside. And in that instant, he found the courage to act and wrestled a semi-automatic pistol away from the gunman who had already killed 11 people in another dance studio. 11. He saved lives. It's time we do the same. Ban assault weapons now.
He means
Ban them
business.
now.
Yeah, that Lunar New Year's
Once and for
shooting
all.
wasn't an assault weapon.
They called it an assault pistol, which means everything is an assault weapon.
In 1994.
Also, imagine how that situation would have been different if this young man would have had a gun himself. Then he wouldn't have had to attack a man with a pistol with his bare
After it
hands.
expired in the Republican administration, mass shootings tripled. Let's finish the job and ban these assault weapons. And let's also come together on immigration. Make it a bipartisan issue once again.
What's the problem, Joe? Tell us what the problem is. What do we need to come together on? Details. Maybe we will.
We now have a record number of personnel working to secure the border, arresting 8,000 human smugglers, seizing over 23,000 pounds of fentanyl in just the last several months. We've launched a new border plan last month. Unlawful migration from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela has come down 97% as a consequence of that. But American border problems won't be fixed until Congress acts. If we don't pass my comprehensive immigration reform, at least pass my plan to provide the equipment and officers to secure the border.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this man is a lunatic. Oh.
Pathway to citizenship for dreamers, those on temporary status, farm workers, essential workers.
Boom.
Here
There goes the bottle. You don't need a cup,
It's our
Annie.
duty to protect all the people's rights and freedoms. Congress must restore
Tastes
the
like
right
freedom.
Smooth.
Congress must restore the right that was taken away in Roe v. Wade and protect Roe v. Wade.
Can't protect Roe v. Wade. It's unconstitutional.
Yeah, it wasn't ever a right, Joe.
The Vice President and I are doing everything to protect access to reproductive health care and safeguard patient safety. Well, already more than a dozen states
What?
are enforcing extreme abortion bans. Make no mistake about it. If Congress passes a
Do you
national
see?
ban,
Do you see
I
the sign
will veto
language
it.
sign for abortion?
I don't. What was
But
it?
let's also pass.
Let me do it up here so you can see it.
Let's also pass the Bipartisan Equality Act.
Yeah.
To ensure LGBTQ
Ooh.
Americans, especially
He's checking off
transgender
all the
young
things
people,
I had written down that he
live
hadn't
with
talked about
safety
yet.
and dignity. Our
I had
strength-
border, abortion, and gender written
Here we
down
go.
here.
Diversity is our strength.
Our strength is not just the example of our power, but the power of our example. Let's remember the world's watching. I spoke in this chamber 1 year ago, just days after Vladimir Putin unleashed his brutal
Thinking
attack
about the
against
world
Ukraine.
watching us whenever that
Murderous
balloon just
assault.
flew indiscriminately
Evoking
over our
images of death and
skies without
destruction.
resistance.
Europe suffered in World War II. Putin's invasion has been a test for the
Putin.
ages, test for America, a test for the world.
I don't trust Millie.
Would we stand for the most basic of principles? Would we stand for sovereignty? We stand for the right of people to live free of tyranny.
We stand for the flag.
For the defense of democracy. For such defense matters to us because it keeps peace and prevents open season on would-be aggressors and threatens our prosperity.
Hey, if you're with us still,
1 year later,
old boy's yelling.
we know the answer. Yes, we would, and we did. We did.
What? What did we do?
And together, we
Yeah,
did
he's
what
going
America
over.
always does at
He's
our
looking at
best.
how many
Yeah.
pages are left.
We united
He's got about
NATO.
3 minutes left on the
built a
over.
global
2 minutes
coalition.
left on the over.
I was going
We
to say
stood
we
against
have
Putin's aggression.
tomorrow's
We stood with the Ukrainian
YouTube
people
live
tonight.
stream already
Once
created.
again
So if you're
joined
on
by
the Any Fry
Ukrainians
YouTube channel right now, if you're on
ambassadors to the
Facebook or
United
something,
States.
go over to the
Represents not her
YouTube
just
and hit
nation,
notify me.
but the courage of her
Make sure
people.
you subscribe,
Ambassadors,
and then you can get a notification. It's a real handy way to
ambassadors here,
check in with us each day and
united in
vote
our
on the
burden,
YouTube
united in
poll,
our supporting
which
the country.
tomorrow's poll
We
is
stand so
for you
we
to
can all take a
grade
look at
his
it.
speech. So if you feel like you need to get that out of your system right now,
Thank you.
Do you know which email account you used for Ryan?
We're gonna stand with
he's
you.
part of this stream, or part of the
As long
team,
as it
right?
takes.
does he want to join us?
Yeah, he's like, apparently I don't have an account. It's like, I can't
Our
hold your
nation's
hand through
working
this,
for
Ryan,
more
buddy.
freedom, more dignity,
You
more,
can just send him
more
the invite
peace,
link.
not just in Europe, but everywhere. Before I came to office, the story was about how the People's Republic of China was increasing its power, and America was failing in the world. Not anymore. We made clear, and I made clear in my personal conversations, which have been many, with President Xi, that we seek
Yeah, we've heard.
competition, not conflict. But I will make no apologies that we're investing to make America stronger. Investing in American innovation and industries that will define the future that China intends to be dominating. Investing in our alliances and working with our allies to protect advanced technologies so they will not be used against us. Modernizing our military to safeguard stability and deter aggression. Today, we're in the strongest position in decades to compete with China or anyone else in the world. Anyone else in the world. And I'm committed. I'm committed to work with China where we can advance American interests and benefit the world. But make no mistake about it. As we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty, we will act to protect our country, and we did.
Uh-huh. That is not what I witnessed, Joe.
Look, let's be clear. Winning the competition should unite all of us. We face serious challenges across the world. But in the past 2 years, democracies have become stronger, not weaker. Autocracies have grown weaker, not stronger. Name me a world leader who changed places with Xi Jinping. Name me one. Name me one.
Changed places?
America's rallying the world to meet those challenges. From
I
climate to global
Can't
health,
answer your question because I don't
including
know what you're
security,
saying and you're yelling at me and
terrorism,
I'm
to
scared.
territorial aggression.
Nobody
Allies are
changed
stepping
places
up,
with Xi
spending more and doing
Jinping.
more.
He's still in his
Look,
same spot.
bridges were forming between partners in the Pacific and those in the Atlantic. And those who bet against America are learning how wrong they are. It's never, ever been a good bet to bet against America. Never. Well, when I came to office,
It's the
most
over.
assured that bipartisanship assumed was impossible, but never believed it. That's why a year ago I offered a unity agenda to the nation as I stood here. We made real progress together. We passed a law making it easy for doctors to prescribe effective treatments for opioid addiction. We passed the gun safety law, making historic investments in mental health. We launched the ARPA-H drive for breakthrough in the fights against cancer, Alzheimer's, and diabetes, and so much more. We passed the Heath Robinson Pact Act, named after the late Iraq War veteran whose story about exposure to toxic burn kits I shared here last year.
Oh, there's Ryan.
I understand something about those burn pits, but there's so much more to do. We can do it together. Joining us tonight is a father named Doug from Newton.
It's
New
Lucy
Hampshire.
Jenkins.
He
Whoa.
wrote Jill, my wife, a letter, and me as well, about his courageous daughter, Courtney. A contagious laugh, his sister's best friend, her sister's best friend. He shared the story all too familiar to millions of Americans and many of you in the audience. Courtney discovered pills in high school. It spiraled into addiction and eventually death from a fentanyl overdose. She was just 20 years old. Describing the last 8 years without her, Doug said, "There's no worse pain." Yet their family has turned pain to purpose, working to end the stigma and change laws. He told us he wants to start a journey toward American recovery. Doug, we're with you. Fentanyl is killing more than 70,000 Americans a year.
Close the border.
You got
Is that
it.
what they yelled?
Ooh. Are you getting feedback, Brad?
Yeah, a little bit.
Ryan, I think your thing is feeding back. Do you have headphones?
Oh, no,
So
not
let's
for this. I
launch
know.
a
I'll
major
figure
surge
it
to
out.
stop fentanyl production and the sale and trafficking, with more drug detection
better.
machines, inspection cargo, stop pills and powder at the border.
And people that don't belong here.
Working with couriers like FedEx to inspect more packages for
We're going
drugs.
to FedEx the people back and the drugs
Strong
back.
penalties to crack down on fentanyl trafficking. Second, let's do more on mental health, especially for our children. When millions of young people are struggling with bullying, violence, trauma, we owe them greater access to mental health care at their schools. We must finally hold social media companies accountable for experimenting they're doing running children for profit. It's time to pass bipartisan legislation to stop big tech from collecting personal data on our kids and teenagers online.
Like TikTok?
Ban
Say it.
targeted advertising to children and impose stricter limits
Like
on
The Proud
personal
Family
data
and
that
Disney
companies
Plus?
collect on all of us. Third, let's do more to keep this nation's one truly sacred obligation to equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home. Job training, job placement for veterans and their spouses as they come to return to civilian life. Helping veterans afford the rent, because no one should be homeless in America, especially someone who served the country. Dennis McDonough is here of the VA. We had a first real discussion when I asked him to take the job. I'm glad he did. We were losing up to 25 veterans a day on suicide. Now we're losing 17 a day to the silent scourge of suicide. 17 veterans a day are committing suicide. More than all the people being killed in the wars.
Good point, Christopher.
Folks, VA is doing everything it can, including expanding mental health screening, proven programs that recruits veterans to help other veterans understand what they're going through, get them the help they need. We got to do more. And fourth, last year, Jill and I reignited the cancer moonshot that I was able to start with President Obama asked me to lead our administration on this issue. Our goal is to cut the cancer death rates at least by 50% in the next 25 years. Turn more cancers from death sentences to treatable diseases. Provide more support for patients and their families. It's personal to so many of us in this audience. Joining us are Morris and Candice, an Irishman and the daughter of immigrants from Panama. They met and fell in love in New York City and got married in the same chapel Jill and I got married in New York City. Kindred spirits. He wrote us a letter about his little daughter, Ava, and I saw her just before I came over. She was just a year old when she was diagnosed with rare kidney disease, cancer. After 26 blood transfusions, 11 rounds of radiation, 8 rounds of chemo, 1 kidney removed, giving a 5% survival rate. He wrote how in the darkest moments he thought, if she goes, I can't stay. Many of you have been through that as well. Jill and I understand that like so many of you. And he read Jill's book describing our family's cancer journey and how we tried to steal moments of joy where we could with Bo. For them, that glimmer of joy was the half smile of their baby girl. It meant everything to them. They never gave up hope. Little Ava never gave up hope. She turns 4 next month. They just found out Ava's beating the odds, is on her way to being cured of cancer. And she's watching from the White House tonight if she's not asleep already. For the lives we can save.
A ringing endorsement of the speech.
For the lives we can save and the lives we've lost, let this be a truly American moment that rallies the country and the world together and proves that we can still do big things. 20 years ago, under the leadership of President Bush and countless advocates and champions, he undertook a bipartisan effort through PEPFAR to transform the global fight against HIV/AIDS. It's been a huge success. He thought big. He thought large. He moved. I believe we can do the same thing with cancer. Let's end cancer as we know it. Cure some cancers once and for all. Folks, there's one reason why we've been able to do all of these things. Our democracy itself. It's the most fundamental thing of all. With democracy, everything's possible. Without it, nothing is. The last few years, our democracy has been threatened and attacked, put at risk, put to the test in this very room on January the 6th. And then just a few months ago,
Can't help it.
an unhinged big lie assailed and unleashed a political violence, the home of the then Speaker of the House of Representatives. Using the very same language.
If only she would have had a heads up and could have properly secured the premises.
And chanted on January 6th.
He's talking
Here in
about the
Language
hammer
Chamber
attack on Paul
is the
Pelosi.
man who bears the scars of that brutal attack, but is as tough and as strong, as resilient as they get. My friend Paul Pelosi. Paul, stand up.
Kind of a weird thing to bring into this conversation.
But such a heinous act should have never happened. We must all speak out. There's no place for political violence in America. We have to protect the right to vote, not suppress the fundamental right. Honor the results of our elections, not subvert the will of the people. We have to uphold the rule of law and restore trust in our institutions of democracy. And we must give hate and extremism in any form no safe harbor. Democracy must not be a
Yeah, Steve
partisan
Scalise's
issue.
standing up.
It's an
No
American
kidding.
issue.
I almost said a bad word.
Every generation of Americans has faced a moment where they have been called to protect our democracy, defend it, stand up for it.
So that's
This is
a
our
great example. If he was really about bringing
fellow
together both
Americans,
parties, he would have mentioned Scalise's
Meet tonight
attack.
at an
But he
inflection
didn't.
point.
He ignored it.
One of those moments that only a few generations ever face, where the direction we now take is going to decide the course of this nation for decades to come. We're not bystanders of history. We're not powerless before the forces that confront us. It's within our power of we the people. We're facing the test of our time. We have to be the nation we've always been at our best. Optimistic, hopeful, forward-looking. A nation that embraces light over dark, hope over fear, unity over division, stability over chaos. We have
Unity
to
over
see each other
division
not as
is what he
enemies,
said
but
there.
fellow Americans.
What he didn't
We're
say
good
there.
people. The only nation in the world built on an idea. The only one. Other nations are defined by geography, ethnicity. But we're the only nation based on an idea that all of us, every one of us, is created equal in the image of God. A nation that stands as a beacon to the world. A nation in the new age of possibilities. So I've come to fulfill my constitutional obligation to report in the State of the Union. And here's my report. Because the soul of
This is
this
where it
nation
starts.
is
Was that the
strong,
intro?
That was his intro.
the backbone of this nation is strong. Because the people of this nation are
Ryan,
strong.
do you know how
The
close
State
you
of
are to the
Union
camera
is
right now?
strong.
Very intense.
I don't know how I feel about Leisure Ryan.
Better get used to it. 3 days.
I'm not new to this place.
Thought he was gonna
stand
say I'm
here
not a
tonight,
nudist.
Having served as long as about any one of you have
Thank
ever
goodness.
served here. But I've never been more optimistic about our future, about the future of America. We just have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Go get him.
Go get him.
Kevin McCarthy picks up the speech. He holds it in his hands. He sets it back down like an adult.
It would be
Alright.
very difficult to resist the urge to be like,
Have you ever
Psych.
seen that? My kids have had these before. I think maybe I had them when I was a kid. I don't know. Magic kits were a big deal when we were a kid for a while. I don't know if you ever had that. But like paper that you can't tear. It'd be really funny to print that out on paper that you can't tear, and then like have a pillow just stand up like this and just be like, can't pull it apart. Man, the comments you guys are throwing out here, it's so great this entire time. It's been fun to watch you weigh in as much as anything. So now we are going to wait for Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is going to give the rebuttal. Do you want to pull it up on, why don't you put it up on, find it on the stream that you thought it was going to be on?
yeah, I think it's going to be on C-SPAN's stream.
Okay, well, why don't you see about getting that up there? I could pull it up too, but I think your internet connection is, I think I have too many things going on in my house right now to manage all of that. So, Ryan, you want to comment on anything while you're here?
Let me see if I can
I can
without
hear
it
you.
being
That's good.
echoey. Does that work?
Yep.
I'll without being able to hear much of what you guys can say back because I've had to turn it down so I don't reverberate too much. I heard pretty much since I heard the last half hour of the speech, and I heard three things. One was just a list of different fees people don't like.
Yeah.
Like, you know what, yours too high is your cable bill and stuff. Like, what, the union? And then a list of different leftist causes like abortion that he just was sort of like checking off. He didn't really say anything about them. LGBTQ, black and brown people, just like saying words. And then the last 15 minutes roughly was him curing cancer. So I mean,
It's a really great place to finish. A sentence. He should have cured. He should have really, though. I thought that he delivered the speech really well, but he did kind of miss the opportunity to say he was going to cure cancer from the moon, actually on the moon. That would have been, I think, just a little bit the extra that the United States cares about right now. Who's typing? Are you typing, Brad?
That's me.
That's super.
That clicking though right now is not me.
Okay, that's the
Hands up.
Ryan thing. That's fine.
It's me here. I'll mute again.
No, that's okay. So we're gonna watch. Okay. The president is walking through the chamber, shaking hands. I wonder how many people are asking for his autograph. That is. Yeah, I can still hear it. What is making that noise? It's super clicky. It's so weird.
I'm typing right now.
Oh, well. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is going to give the response, and I'm very curious to hear what she has to say and how she's able to articulate. That is an incredibly difficult, it's a challenging thing to do after the pomp and circumstance and the set for a State of the Union, which, as I've said multiple times, I love the State of the Union. Even if I hate it, I love it because I think it's a impressive show of what we are as a country. I'm interested to hear, like Brandon says, looking very forward to Sarah Huckabee Sanders' rebuttal. So we are going to carry that here. So stick around with that. If you guys have questions that you want to ask us, also, if you listen to us, I'm sure there is maybe a person or two that's watching right now that maybe has never seen, you don't know who we are. We're just streaming the State of the Union, so you joined us. But we have a radio show in St. Louis every weekday from noon to 3 p.m. Central Time, and we cover news, politics, and really life and culture, and we have as much fun as we report on serious things. So we would really love it if you're here right now, if you would subscribe to the channel. And there's a notification bell. I know there's a lot of people who subscribe who don't have notifications turned on. You just get a notification pop up on your phone that, oh, hey, we're going live right now. And that way you can kind of get your reminder to get in there, vote on the YouTube poll each day. Tomorrow's YouTube live chat poll, if you go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, you'll see that we have the broadcast created for tomorrow's show, for Wednesday's show. And there's a poll in the live chat there. And it asks you to grade the president's speech. And I only get 4 options on every YouTube poll. So you can vote A, B/C, F, or didn't watch. Now, I understand that maybe you were like really excited to give him a D. Too bad. You can't. You can leave a comment. But I'll be curious to think of, to hear what you guys think. I'm going to probably go BC right now. It was not nearly as much of a dumpster fire as I thought it could be, simply in presentation, because the way that the majority of people who give any hoots about this event tonight, they already know what they think about all of the things that he just said there. Everybody agrees we should cure cancer. What was something about, he said something about children and their brains dying of brain cancer or something like that. I can't remember what that weird statement was, but it was like, I think it's something we could all get behind, is that's bad and we shouldn't do that. There's very little that he said tonight that I think that really transpires from party to party. But as far as it goes politically, he, to me, delivered with some personality, and he had more energy than you expected him to. So, there are going to be highlight reels of gaffes that he stumbled over or whatever, but I don't think that he did anything that he didn't blow himself up tonight. And I will say, unfortunately for the country, that's a huge win for this administration and the Democrats. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I was going to say he didn't have the pound of Ukrainians and Russian tanks surrounding Iran, Kyiv and Iran moment this one. So I'm with you on the B to C. I'm leaning more C.
Yeah.
I think that there were some things that he could have done better. I don't think that he should have engaged the GOP when they were booing him whenever he lied about.
He never said MAGA, I don't think, did he?
No, I didn't
move
hear
on
it.
his part.
He did use big lie and essentially blamed one side, which I don't think that was the best thing. I mean, if you really are about pulling the country together over political violence, it's important to understand that that's a bipartisan problem. It's not one side or the other. There are extremists on each end. It was a Democrat extremist that shot up the congressional baseball field, which put Steve Scalise in the hospital and nearly killed him. And then, too, I remain unconvinced that the Paul Pelosi attacker was motivated by anything other than being a psychopath and insanity.
Yeah.
But even at that, we all saw what happened on January 6th. There were people that went into the Capitol doing violent things. It's an issue for both sides, and if you really want to come together on it, then you've got to acknowledge that fact. Otherwise, it's just a cheap shot at your opponent. But as far as delivery goes, this is one of the better Biden speeches. I mean, the bar's not super high for him. He had his regular stumbles that he usually did, but like I said, he didn't have the pound of Ukrainians or Russian tanks surrounding that, or the foothills of Himalayas or whatever it was he tried to say.
Yeah. I think that's probably that. Those instances are probably his stutter that kind of manifests itself. And I'm much more concerned with the things that he intends to say that I think are dangerous than the stumbles that he has that make it harder for him to be understood in content. But yeah.
I mean, and I wouldn't expect him to do anything other than spike the football and things that would appear as wins or try to spin things as wins for himself. We talked about that a little bit on the show today. The goal of the State of the Union is to do an end zone dance, if you can.
Yep.
So,
What do you think, Ryan?
I'll give it a C right now, just because I think he could have been, from what I saw, more divisive. And it seems like maybe chose to not be as divisive as he could have been. But it also felt like it was it felt like it was a focus group speech, that it was just based on, hey, maybe we'll get some primetime viewers out of this. And I'll just say things that people generally like to hear. Like, what really makes me mad is when you go to those parking meters and, you can't figure out what number you are. We're going to fix that.
It's kind of like how you win student council and maybe like assisted living council.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, that's why I say it could have been more divisive. So I guess that's good. But it wasn't anything. And if that was the State of the Union, it's like, that's what Americans care about, is lower cable bills and, stuff like that. It's like, okay.
Give the people what they want. A super chat from Nick at Wiggins Extreme Close-Up, A+.
Whammo. Maybe this will get us $20.
Man, if we do these lives from Disney World and people want to support the Disney World trip, we're going to do some crazy things.
yeah, we are.
Oh, yeah.
And not going to... I doubt many of it will be Wiggins Extreme Close-Ups, but hey, Disney is expensive. Oh man. Thanks, Nick. We appreciate it. All right. Do you feel like you Brad, do you feel like you have the rebuttal ready they're still showing on. I got Fox on behind me.
Yeah, I've got CNN up just so that I can watch and make sure that the rebuttal doesn't happen and it's not
Kamala
happening.
and Kevin McCarthy are standing like in unison back there. They look like cardboard cutouts.
They do.
Like they have stand-ins. Like they're going to have to stand there, but we're going to need to get everybody else out. Put in the cardboard cutouts and then let them both. Because they're both standing. I could stand like that.
Yeah, right now the Chiron on CNN says soon, the Republican response. So it hasn't started yet, and I've got the C-SPAN up, and it's still rolling. I think they would have cut the feed by now if they weren't going to carry it.
Yeah, I agree. Ryan, you'll have to make some large movements if you want to talk, because it's very crackly when otherwise. Here, we'll ask him this question. Is Ryan just chilling in bed? Are you in a robe?
No, that would be silly, but I am fully in bed and laying down.
Are you in your pajamas?
No, I'm not in my pajamas. I'm in my regular clothes, just shirtless. I'm just kidding about that. I'm kidding.
Shirtless?
I'm not shirtless. I'm just wearing my normal clothes, but I am laying in bed.
Are you doing the full Fetterman? Is that a hoodie?
What's that? Tell me what that is.
You got a hoodie on?
No, I just got my normal. It's the same thing I was wearing on the stream earlier today.
I don't remember.
To what you wear.
Ryan, we don't pay any attention to what you wear, except for the cocaine shirt.
That's a hoodie.
You need to get a headset. You need to get, this is basic stuff, Ryan. You need to have a computer or your phone, and then you need to get the headset to plug in.
I know, but I was just at basketball practice until 8:45, and I don't have a setup.
I'm already looking for shotgun mics that I can use with my phone for the Disney trip.
Man.
It's going to be awesome.
I'd be curious to know, people listening right now, while we wait for... Ooh, I got to mute him. While we wait for Sarah Huckabee Sanders to join and give her rebuttal, I really want to know if anyone here has been to Disney World lately, and if there are any suggestions of things that you feel like we have to do. Brad, what is your Disney World experience so far?
So what is my experience?
Yeah.
I was at Disney one time when I was 4 or 5. I only remember that because I have a distinct, vivid memory of one of the younger kids in our group on the Dumbo ride going way up high while freaking out the little girl in front of him and then laughing maniacally.
You remember Dumbo?
Mm-hmm.
So, and when you went into what year?
Oh,
Early 90s?
Yeah, it would have been like 87, 88. I don't even know if my sister was born yet.
It's not even important. That's like the total way to talk about your sister. Ryan, what is your Disney World experience so far?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, it's really.
Is that your kid or
obvious.
my kid?
My Disney experience is only what you told me to do in 2020, which is to go to Disney World because it would be fun for my family. Yay! It's Molly.
Say hi. Can you say, hi, Ryan? He's kind of scary, isn't he? You say, oh, that is very close. You say, hi. Hi.
Hi.
Should we make... You say hi? Who do you see up there? Joe Biden? What if she was like, Joe Biden? What does a lion say? What does the lion say? Say it loud. What does a elephant say?
What does Michael Jackson say?
Ooh. Molly. Michael Jackson. You want to do it again? Michael Jackson? Huh? That's right. What does a puppy say? What does a kitty say?
Meow.
What does a snake say? What do the cubs say? You're funny. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's sleepy. And the dog is actually barking. All right, we got. Can't. Oh my gosh! Look at all these comments.
Old.
What's that?
She's so old.
How old is
She's
she?
just a baby.
20.
This week.
July, August, September, October, 17, 8, 20. Holy cow! 20 months. 20 months. Friday? Yes, I think so. Any luck here? With Sarah Huckabee Sanders yet?
No.
You want to stay with mommy?
Not yet.
Okay. You want to keep doing tricks for the people?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said, Ryan, you went to Disney World and you just did things that I told you. Had you been before that?
Not since I was a little bitty kid. So no, I didn't remember it at all. Just like Brad. And I was a little weirded out because it's a little culty where people all wear matching shirts and stuff. And I was like, what the heck is going on? These people are weird.
Did you guys have matching shirts when you went?
No, we didn't have matching. Well, we had my dad got us the same color shirts, but we never wore them on the same days.
Yeah.
But then once I got home, it was actually after I got back from the vacation that I actually started to appreciate it a little bit more because it was a little overwhelming
Yeah.
going there
It is.
Mickey Mouse?
in
Mickey Mouse?
2020 when, it was still COVID era and my whole family's wearing masks and all that stuff. It was crazy. So that was our full experience.
Brad, what are you looking forward to most on our trip? And if Donald Trump down, that's bad omen. Pick him up.
Oh no.
Did he live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, he was knocked down, but he is back. What are you looking forward to the most?
I think I am really looking to the Galaxy's Edge the most. I think that's going to be fun.
Oh, that's all the
Experience-
Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, experiencing Disney with a Disney fanatic. The first time I go is going to be the right way to go, though. So I'm really excited about that because I know that you're working really hard with an itinerary and planning it out. You're going to work hand in hand with Disney to make this the most magical trip for those of us who haven't been before.
It's gonna be great. And we're gonna. Quick Rick says, y'all gonna do only the Magic Kingdom, or are you gonna visit the other parks? We're gonna do all the parks, and we're park hopping, so we're gonna be doing multiple parks in the same day. And I'm right here. Hi. I think that we'll probably go live on this YouTube channel quite a bit so that people can
Yeah.
watch us experience it for the first time. So STL says Disney World can be a little too overwhelming, depends on the child's age. This includes kids over 25 or 30 or so. It can. You have to know your limits for sure. You have to be able to say no to things or to plan accordingly. And fortunately, I am an expert at those things. So hopefully we will be able to just have the best time. I feel like everybody has kind of agreed that we're going to be there for 3 days and 2 nights. And the idea is, like Ryan keeps saying, I'm putting you back on here, Ryan, that, oh, you have to unmute your own mic. I can't do it right now. That he wants to wait in no lines. You want, like, the express pass and to get through as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, but you know what I've not done that I should do more of is stop and watch some of the shows and the presentations that they do. The things are neat, and I always regret like going 100 miles an hour and not ever stopping and sort of just relaxing a little bit, eating, that kind of stuff, because that's the stuff I end up remembering the most after I go to those things is the parts where I kind of stop.
Yeah. There's so much. Can you hear me? Can you hear us? Okay. You want me? Well, then you have to be quiet, okay?
Okay.
Michael Jackson? Hee hee. I think that the hard thing to do is to is to go in and feel like you're going to conquer the world. And then you realize when you leave, no matter how much time you spend there, that there's still more stuff to do. So, we're gonna prioritize and do those things. And 5 minutes until Sarah's. You want Mickey?
No, me.
And then let's see here. Hunter said, Miss Frey, you can call me Annie. Could please tell me how to visit Disney with my 2 kids. I have rebooted the Pixie Dust podcast, which is my Disney World planning podcast that I do with my friend Erica, who is a planner who it doesn't cost anything to use her. You will save money, in my opinion, if you use a Disney World planner. And then also I'm going to be adding a weekly podcast episode where I'm going to review things on Disney. As a conservative Christian mom of 4 kids of varying ages, I'm going to give it to you straight. So you can come to me and trust me to give you. And if you want to know a little bit about that, I think I'm going to take the some of the stuff we talked about with the Proud Family and add it into there a little bit later. Ryan, were you going to say something? Unmute yourself. Are you talking? There you go. I can't hear you, Ryan. Why is it Ryan?
Ryan, I was gonna say, is your phone on a charger?
There it is.
Yes.
It is on a charger.
Now it's not.
Oh, listen. Yeah, that's a lot better, actually.
Go ahead.
Is it?
Mm.
Since nobody is as much of an expert at Disney as Annie is,
Well,
one of the things that I'm going to make sure that we do is that I've discovered this really unique little theater within Epcot.
You didn't discover it. I passed over it.
It's the only thing
Decisions
that
were
I've
made.
done, and I've done it twice, and Annie's never done it, and it's the only thing in the entire all 4 parks that she's not done, and that I have.
You did
And
Mission Space.
therefore-
I never did that.
Well, that's true, but at least you've deliberately passed on that. This, I feel like, is a little gem that's not even listed on the map. It's a secret theater that only I know about. And what is this?
I was just putting up C-SPAN to see what they're talking about. Apparently, Marjorie Taylor Greene was like heckling or something.
Huh.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I can't wait to go. I'm so excited to be able to take you guys down there and kind of like host you through the weekend and show you the different things that are fun to do and prioritize all of that. And it's going to be great. How do you guys think Sarah Huckabee Sanders is going to do here on this speech?
I just hope
think
she
she's
doesn't
gonna.
decide to drink your water.
As long as she doesn't have chapstick smeared all over her face, she should be all right.
That was Kennedy, right?
Yeah. I think she'll do a good job. I mean, she was a communications secretary or White House spokesman under the Trump administration. So I think she'll do a good job. Have a clear message, a clear rebuttal of what he's said. So she might point out some inaccuracies to what he said, and then hopefully she offers some Republican plans and ideas for it.
They get a copy ahead of time of the speeches, so they're able to know ahead of time, this is what the State of the Union is going to say, so they can address specific things. Yeah, Jackie, I don't understand what that noise is. It's awful. So she will be able to have put together a response to what was going to be said in the State of the Union and hopefully address some of those things. I think one of the most frustrating parts of the State of the Union for me specifically were the comments on the Social Security suggestion. Like, he kind of set himself up for Dirk is saying she's on. He set himself up to dunk on a field or a court that nobody else was playing on, and oh yeah, there she goes on Fox. So she's probably gonna come up on here in a second. Let's put this.
No.
Yep, there she is.
Get her in there.
Mommy. Mommy.
Three young children taught me not to believe every story I hear. So forgive me for not believing much of anything I heard tonight from President Biden. From out-of-control inflation and violent crime to the dangerous border crisis and threat from China, Biden and the Democrats have failed you. They know it, and you know it.
She looked
And it's
great.
time for a change. Tonight, let us reaffirm our commitment to a timeless American idea that government exists not to rule the people, but to serve the people. Democrats want to rule us with more government control, but that's not who we are. America is the greatest country the world has ever known because we're the freest country the world has ever known, with a people who are strong and resilient. 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. It was a hard time for our family, particularly our kids, Scarlett, Huck, and George. But we kept our faith and persevered. Thanks to exceptional doctors here in Arkansas, a successful surgery, and the grace of God, I am cancer-free. Through it all, I couldn't help but think about my mom. She was 20 years old and in her first year of marriage when she was diagnosed with spinal cancer. The doctors told her she might not live, and if she did live, they said she'd never walk again. And if she did walk, she'd definitely never have children. The daughter she was told she'd never have was just sworn in as the new governor of Arkansas and is speaking to you tonight. Adversity and fear of the unknown can paralyze us, but faith propels us to charge boldly ahead. We can't stand still in the face of great challenges. You and I were put on this earth for such a time as this, to charge boldly ahead. I'll be the first to admit, President Biden and I don't have a lot in common. I'm for freedom, he's for government control. At 40, I'm the youngest governor in the country. And at 80, he's the oldest president in American history.
Ryan, look at what she's done
I'm
with her
the
young
first
life.
woman to lead my state, and he's the first man to surrender his presidency to a woke mob that can't even tell you what a woman is. In the radical left's America, Washington taxes you and lights your hard-earned money on fire. But you get crushed with high gas prices, empty grocery shelves, and our children are taught to hate one another on account of their race, but not to love one another or our great country. Whether Joe Biden believes this madness or is simply too weak to resist it, his administration has been completely hijacked by the radical left. The dividing line in America is no longer between right or left. The choice is between normal or crazy. It's time for a new generation of Republican leadership. Upon taking office just a few weeks ago, I signed executive orders to ban CRT, racism, and indoctrination in our schools.
That doesn't feel like an
Eliminate the
endorsement for
use of
Trump.
derogatory term Latinx in our government, repealed COVID orders, and said never again to authoritarian mandates and shutdowns. Americans want common sense from their leaders. But in Washington,
Amy, I thought you were
the
talking
Biden
about Bernie
administration
Sanders.
is doubling down on crazy.
2032, better hurry up.
President Biden inherited the fastest economic recovery on record, the most secure border in history, cheap, abundant, homegrown energy, fast rising wages, a rebuilt military, and a world that was stable and at peace. But over the last 2 years, Democrats destroyed it all. Despite Democrats' trillions in reckless spending and mountains of debt, we now have the worst border crisis in American history. As a mom, my heart breaks for every parent who has lost a son or daughter to addiction. 100,000 Americans a year are now killed from drug overdoses, largely from fentanyl pouring across our southern border. Yet the Biden administration refuses to secure the border and save American lives. And after years of Democrat attacks on law enforcement and calls to defund the police, violent criminals roam free, while law-abiding families live in fear. Beyond our border, from Afghanistan to Ukraine, from North Korea to Iran, President Biden's weakness puts our nation and the world at risk. And the president's refusal to stand up to China, our most formidable adversary, is dangerous and unacceptable. President Biden is unwilling to defend our border, defend our skies, and defend our people. He is simply unfit to serve as commander-in-chief. And while you reap the consequences of their failures, the Biden administration seems more interested in woke fantasies than the hard reality Americans face every day.
She's killing it.
Most Americans simply want to live their lives in freedom and peace. But we are under attack in a left-wing culture war we didn't start and never wanted to fight. Every day we are told we must partake in their rituals, salute their flags, and worship their false idols, all while big government colludes with big tech to strip away the most American thing there is, your freedom of speech. That's not normal. It's crazy, and it's wrong.
It's not
Make
normal.
No mistake.
It's crazy.
Republicans will
That's
not
it.
surrender this fight. We will lead with courage and do what's right, not what's politically correct or convenient. Republicans believe in an America where strong families thrive in safe communities, where jobs are abundant and paychecks are rising, where the freedom our veterans shed their blood to defend is the birthright of every man, woman, and child. These are the principles Republican governors are fighting for, and in Washington, under the leadership of Senate Republicans and Speaker Kevin McCarthy, we will hold the Biden administration accountable.
Fantastic.
Down the street from where I sit is my alma mater, Little Rock Central High. As a student there, I will never forget watching my dad, Governor Mike Huckabee, and President Bill Clinton hold the doors open to the Little Rock Nine. Doors that 40 years earlier had been closed to them because they were Black. Today, those children once barred from the schoolhouse are now heroes memorialized in bronze at our State House. I'm proud of the progress our country has made, and I believe giving every child access to a quality education, regardless of their race or income, is the civil rights issue of our day. Tomorrow, I will unveil an education package that will be the most far-reaching, bold, conservative education reform in the country.
Woo!
My plan empowers parents with real choices, improves literacy and career readiness, and helps put a good teacher in every classroom by increasing their starting salary from one of the lowest to one of the highest in the nation. Here in Arkansas and across America, Republicans are working to end the policy of trapping kids in failing schools and sentencing them to a lifetime of poverty. We will educate, not indoctrinate our kids, and put students on a path to success. It's time for a new generation to lead. This is our moment. This is our opportunity. A new generation born in the waning decades of the last century, shaped by economic booms and stock market busts, forged by the triumph of the Cold War and the tragedy of 9/11. A generation brimming with passion and new ideas to solve age-old problems. A generation moored to our deepest values and oldest traditions, yet unafraid to challenge the present order and find a better way forward. If we seize this moment together, America can once again be the land of the free and the home of the brave. During my 2.5 years at the White House, I traveled on every foreign trip with the president. A trip I will never forget was on December 25th of 2018. My husband Brian and I had just cleaned up wrapping paper that was shoved into every corner of our house, thanks to our 3 kids. When I had to walk out on my own family's Christmas, unable to tell them where I was going that night, because the place I'd be traveling was so dangerous, they didn't want anybody to know that the president was going to be on the ground, even for a few hours. We boarded Air Force One in complete and total darkness. There were no lights on the plane, no lights on the runway. Our phones and computers shut down and turned in. We were going completely off the grid. Nearly 12 hours later, in the pitch black of night, we landed in the war-torn part of Western Iraq. It was again a similar scene. No lights on the plane, no lights on the runway. The only thing you could see was coming from about a mile away in a dining hall where hundreds of troops who were in the fight against ISIS had gathered expecting to celebrate Christmas with senior military leadership from around the region. They had absolutely no idea that the president and first lady were about to walk into that room. And when they did, it was a sight and a scene and a sound I hope I never forget. The room erupted. Men and women from every race, religion, and region, every political party, every demographic you can imagine, started chanting in perfect unison over and over and over again, USA, USA, USA. It was an absolutely perfect picture of what makes our country great. One of the young soldiers yelled from the back, "Mr. President, I re-enlisted in the military because of you." And the president said, "And son, I'm here because of you." Shortly after, that young soldier came up to me. He said, "Sarah, you have a tough job." I told him, "What I do is nothing. You take bombs and bullets. That's a tough job." And in a moment that I know I'll cherish for the rest of my life, that soldier reached up and he pulled the Brave Rifles patch he wore on his shoulder, and he placed it into my hand, a sign of ultimate respect. And he said, "Sarah, we are in this together." Overwhelmed with emotion and speechless, I just hugged him with tears in my eyes and a grateful heart for our heroes who keep us free. That young man and everyone who has served before him, all of those who serve alongside him, and the thousands we know who will be called upon to serve after him deserve to know they have a country and a community back home doing our part in the fight for freedom. America is great because we are free. But today, our freedom is under attack, and the America we love is in danger. President Biden and the Democrats have failed you, and it's time for a change. A new generation of Republican leaders are stepping up, not to be caretakers of the status quo, but to be change makers for the American people. We know not what the future holds, but we know who holds the future in his hands. And with God as our witness, we will show the world that America is still the place where freedom reigns and liberty will never die. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America.
What?
And that was Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Oh
the
my
governor of
gosh.
Arkansas.
Does that not just make you feel like, okay, I was feeling like I needed some of these. Like you're listening to Joe Biden speak and you're wondering, I know there are a million reasons of things that people have to say about how Joe Biden became the president of the United States. Forget it. He's your president. It is what it is. I talked about this today on the air. I kind of would like to discuss this more one day with the whole crew in. But the Republican Party has to do this. And it's the same speech I gave to some 5th through 8th grade girls in a basketball huddle, and then eventually after they ended up winning the game in the locker room afterwards. But we have to decide if while we are in the game, we want to compete to win. Because the alternative, when you feel like the deck is stacked against you, is to determine that you are content to lose with excuses. That is fighting to win. That is not losing with excuses. And the fact that it is there, and it is 40 young years old, means that the future of this country, at least for the next, I don't know, President Biden's 100, so we got, what, 60 years out of Sarah Huckabee Sanders? I mean, he's 79, or no, he just turned 80. She is half his age, with twice his wisdom. And we just got to hear that, and you and I both know that if that right there sets the tone for the strength of the Republican Party is healthy. And it is much broader than just that. Brad, what'd you think about it?
I loved it. You start off the beginning, disavowing or disabusing people of the narrative that Biden had placed, and then you paint a picture of what the Republican goal is and what a Republican-led United States looks like.
Solutions, like real measurable points.
Mm-hmm. And what I really liked about it too was it wasn't like, because it used to be like you'd get these nerdy speeches from the Republicans where we wouldn't inspire people. We would just throw out there, it's like, well, if we did this, then the GDP would do this, and then we would lower the deficit, and taxes would. But you've got to appeal to people's hearts as well, and that's what she did. She was able to take the solid information and combine it with the feel good information, put them together, and come up with that speech. I thought that was great.
I want to know, and I'm going to try to find out who was involved in writing that speech. I want to know how much, because if she didn't write that speech, she nailed that speech. Mm-hmm. Just because if she didn't have all of, if it wasn't 100% her words, which there are people who professionally write these things. That's the message. Brian, what'd you think about that? We can't hear you.
When Joe Biden talked about race, he used it to divide America. She used not only her platform on education to talk about how she's going to, through policy, not do that, but she told a terrific story where she said in it, when we landed, we walked into this mess hall, and every race, creed, type of person you could think of all stood and as one started chanting USA. And that's a real story. It's super inspiring. And everything about it was inspiring. It was not divisive on purpose. And that's the big, big difference between the way she handled her 10 minutes and the way Joe Biden did an hour and 15 minutes.
Man, I'm impressed, and I'm grateful for it. And really, when you think about the platform of the Democratic Party and the ability to give that speech in such a magnificent way at the State of the Union, those follow-up speeches are very difficult to deliver well. And she absolutely did that. But I can't stress enough how important it is to have a message. Like you were saying, Brad, to not be in a constant, but look here. And then you point to the graph.
The whiteboard.
Yeah. And you go, but the statistics show, like you said, you get very nerdy about it. Especially Republican politicians, the political party has not done well of connecting their message with the living experience of the American individual, which is so frustrating because as a conservative Republican myself, I believe that we have an incredible message that is helpful to people of all walks of life, that is helpful to people of all shapes and sizes and colors and all the different things that you can be right now. I think that the Republican way is the right way, not because I feel like it gives me a leg up on anybody. I feel like it is the most compassionate way, the conservative way, to encourage people to be giving to people and not suggest that the responsibility of all that should be turned over to some power-hungry people in the government. And the Republican Party has been guilty of that same thing. In big government, big bloated government, that has not been the strong, like we said on the air today. Like, we have not experienced a truly fiscally small government-minded, constitutionally conservative politician in our time that's leading the party. It hasn't been the case. Whew. That was good. I think I'm gonna how long was that? 10 minutes? We should, can we play the whole thing tomorrow? I think we can.
If I can find it, yeah.
Let's just pull it off here.
That's a great point. Yeah, it'll be on this. Yeah.
Man, I think that's enough for tonight, and I'm ending it on a good high note. I think that was fantastic, and I'll say this too, to Joe Biden's credit, I feel like what he was able to do in that speech was, I don't think he made a fool of himself. And I think a lot of people on the Republican side assumed that he would make a big fool of himself. Ryan, would you agree with that? He didn't make a fool of himself?
Yeah, even compared to last year, he did better.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody wants to know if your shield is metal or plastic.
That's for me to know and them to find out. I'll never tell.
That probably means
no,
it's
it's a plastic shield.
Fair enough.
The shield's plastic. The glove is vinyl. The helmet is real. That's a candle warmer, actually. And when I turn it on, the eyes light up. And then the hammer is plastic as well.
All right. Have we covered it all? Is it time to go? I think it's time to go.
Cardinals flag is burlap.
Man. I had to turn. It's so clicky, Ryan. I'm sorry. But anything you want to say here before we sign off, Ryan?
No. I'm looking forward to not only hearing more of that speech tomorrow on the show, but also our little claps in the middle of it if you use this audio.
Yeah. Yay. Oh man. Well, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do tomorrow, Brad. We don't have any guests booked for the first hour.
Nothing for the first hour.
Let's open the phones. We don't do that very often. We will take calls tomorrow and let you guys react. Give you 60 seconds a person. So tune in 314 6. I don't want to give out. I know 2 numbers for sure. One of them is Stewie's for the bank loan. The other one is the guest hotline, which is the one we give guests so that it's never booked up.
2419797, isn't it?
I think that's right. Let's take phone calls tomorrow and get your reactions. All good?
Yeah.
I think they maybe made brownies upstairs. I'm going to go check that out.
I was like, oh, that sounds, I don't have brownies or an upstairs.
I can leave. You can come over if you want to hurry up.
That's a long drive.
All right. Hey, Brian and Brad, thank you guys for being here tonight. It's always an important night for us to cover it. And, we're still have 100 people watching right now on YouTube. That's fantastic. If you're still here and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would just be over the moon if you would. And also if you hit the notifications that will remind you when we go live every day. We broadcast the show every single day, noon to 3 Central Time. we're in St. Louis. We're stationed out of St. Louis, 97.1 FM Talk. You can also stream the station on the Odyssey app, the whole station, anywhere you go, follow 97.1 FM Talk. We are St. Louis's home for conservative talk, and we invite you personally to come join us and check out our podcast and everything there. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, get the notifications, download the podcast, and the Odyssey app, and all the things.
Yeah, and I will say with that Odyssey app, if you guys haven't downloaded it yet, go ahead and download it because we've got some exciting kind of neat things in the works that we're working on training and new technology.
Yeah.
So there might be some really cool, like special behind the scenes stuff that we can do with this app if you get it and create an account and or subscribe to the Andy Frey Show podcast on it.
Yeah, they're going to tell stories about what goes on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going to find out what I'm really like. Ryan, yeah? Are you in on that? Yes? As long as on the podcast, when people ask you questions, you only affirm or deny with head shakes.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk, which is why this is so exciting right now.
All right. Well, thank you all. We appreciate you. For the people who super chatted us tonight, we are really grateful for that. That's awesome, and it's certainly never required, but always appreciated. And before we
So much better than we are.